September the 2nd, wildflowers. There are a lot less wildflowers to be seen in September than there were in August, with many looking more bedraggled as they run to seed or develop their fruits. Walking around the city, you tend to notice mallows, ragwort, sow thistles, evening primroses and mustards, as well as a lot of nipplewort, hogweed and hemlock, and rosebay willowherb. Plants that tend to go unnoticed are the goosefoots, arashes, mugworts, cudweeds, docks and knotweeds. As ever, there are others which just continue to flower from previous months, such as clovers, campions, woundwort, St. Johnworts, plantains and heathers. Others may be making a second appearance, sometimes giving the impression of a second false spring. Fortunately, one or two species seem to show a real affiliation to September itself. Soapwort, hemp agrimony, goldenrod, various fleabanes and michaelmas daisies all now look at their best. Lastly, there are also a small number that made sufficient impact for us to want to seek them out, such as seab, aster, orpine, dodder, autumn squill, autumn lady's tresses, and possibly the rare fluellen. Good places to find flowers this month are not the usual ones. The edges of lakes and rivers, as well as waste areas, downland and heaths, are all satisfactory, as they were last month, but now it is also worth taking time to look in on kempt woodland, hedges, clearings, marshes, and even dirt tracks on downland, all of which can hold surprises. Waste ground. On waste ground, yellow composites such as ragwort, sow thistle, hawkweeds, hawkbeards, and lettuces all still reign supreme, although many of them seem to disappear in cloudy weather as their flowers close. Oddly, there are rather fewer dandelions and daisies. Skeletons of teasel, burdock, and hemlock stand out, interspersed with nipplewort, stinkweed, and yarrow. Yarrow, Achillea millefolium, is named after Achilles, who was taught its healing properties by the centaur Chiron. It has been said it purposely grows well in churchyards to reproach the dead for having not used it. Its familiar flowers are themselves a dead white, although Gerard tells us there was a red form in the 17th century. It still seems to survive along Epsom gallops. Compass plants, Lactuca cereola, stand out due to their height, 2 meters, and also because their upper leaves turn vertically downwards towards the sun in a north-south plane. Its close relation, poisonous lettuce, Lactuca virosa, is seen less but is still worth looking for along the edges of the lower Thames. When rail commuters look out of their windows in the early morning, they may see patches of evening primroses which opened their large lemon flowers at sunset the previous evening. Railway embankments are also still full of rosebay willowherb, as well as ragworts and brambles. Occasionally there is a dense sunshine yellow patch of goldenrod, Solidago canadensis. We may have to blame Tradescant the Younger for these, as he grew them in his garden when they first arrived from America in the 17th century. What he didn't know is that it seeds easily and once established goes on to form the dense clumps we see busily eradicating any other plants nearby. Wetland flowers. Just as in August, wet habitats tend to have a richer complement of late summer flowers. Bentley Priory is reported to have over 150 different aquatic and waterside plants. As ever, the wetland centre at Barnes provides some easy botany for anyone wishing to see a representative collection of them. With little effort, some of the more attractive species, such as marsh woundwort, water figwort, arrowhead, yellow barksia and purple loosestrife, can all be found. For the more determined botanists, there are also 10 or more sedges, including pale galingale, fox and hop sedge, as well as 4 different stoneworts. Purple loosestrife, Lythrum salicaria, stands out the most, as it forms sturdy, metre-high clumps of imperial purple flowers. Its English name refers to its use in relieving stress and anxiety. It's even extended to oxen, who had garlands of its flowers hung around their yokes. It could also explain why Millet included the plant in his picture of the drowned Ophelia, which hangs in the Tate Gallery. If river walks are preferred, the most attractive of the balsams, orange balsam, Impatiens capensis, can be found around Teddington Lock. Greater dodder, Cucuta europea, can be found beside the river mole at Stoke Debenham, where it quietly sucks the sap of nettles. Along the River Wey near Wisley, it prefers to parasitize hops. It is the dense tangle of red threads that are noticed first, before its small, pale orange flowers. Later the flowers disappear, and the threads turn a dark brown. It has a close relation, common dodder, Cucurbita epithymium, which is still worth looking for on Wimbledon Common, and perhaps even on Dartford Heath, where it chooses to parasitise heather. It has flesh-coloured flowers. These strangely coloured leafless parasites have always been despised, often because they attacked and laid low clover fields, and so were called beggarweeds or hellweeds. On damp ground in woods you can still expect to see figwits and marsh thistles. Beside ponds, Tryford burr marigold, Biden's trapapatata, is also widely distributed. Its bird fruits are often dispersed by human socks, but if they fall into the water, they can get attached to the gills of fish and kill them. If flower heads are burned, they are said to smell of cedar. If their flower heads are burned, they are said to smell of cedar. Hemp agramine, Eupatorium cannabinum, is also often seen growing near rivers, where its leaves are sometimes picked, with them looking so much like those of cannabis. One of the great wetland rarities is starfruit, Damascenium elisma, which would now be showing off its star-shaped fruits if it hadn't disappeared with most of London's ponds in the last century. It had a preference for ponds regularly used by cattle, which must have also hastened its demise. It could still be found on Mitcham Common in the 1940s, and perhaps someday it may be encouraged to return there.